Explosion, the two plane crashes at World Trade Center and the collapses that resulted shortly thereafter. And that's the latest from here. Also do want to mention that Cardinal Egan came over. He is at the hospital. He has been talking to the victims, consoling their families, and he says that he is saying a prayer for all the victims and he wants all New Yorkers to do the same. We're live at St. Vincent's Hospital. Yet another ambulance pulling in. Lauren Glassberg, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Lauren, thank you. Again, that phone number only if you really believe you have a loved one in that hospital. We're showing it on the screen right now. St. Vincent's Emergency at area code 212-604-7285. We show this for people who believe strongly that they may have a loved one or a friend or a family member, actually, not friends, family members or loved ones. We want to bring in our chief assignment editor for the night, the 11 o'clock edition of Eyewitness News, Howard Price. He lives in Bergen County. Howard, as I understand it, I'm getting this on the fly, you're on a cell phone, is that, or you're on a landline?
Actually, Bill, good morning on this very sorrowful day for all New Yorkers, indeed all Americans. I am here in Valhalla, Westchester County, at the headquarters of the New York State Army National Guard. This is the 53rd Troop Command. This is the command for the Army National Guard resources that serve New York City. This place has been a beehive of activity, certainly from almost the moment of the first reports of the tragedy this morning. I am standing now probably no more than 20-25 feet from a blue and white Army personnel carrier emblazoned with the logo of the Westchester County Police. This is a fully equipped assault unit, not unlike the New York City Police Department's own Peacekeeper vehicle. We've seen it on TV many times. This unit has its lower doors open. It is waiting for personnel and materiel. The Westchester County Department of Public Service County Police boat is now been hooked up to a trailer. It is now awaiting fire and EMT personnel from all over Westchester County. It is probably a very little consolation to New York City right now, but they need to know that they do not stand alone at this moment. There are suburban fire rescue personnel, police personnel coming in from all over the area. Bergen County is mobilizing. Here in Westchester County, we have trucks and volunteer firefighters, people who have left their homes, their jobs, up here to help their brethren in New York City. It is really an unbelievable response that I'm looking at right now, Bill.
All right, Howard Price, one of our assignment editors, talking to us about the National Guard mobilization in Westchester County. We're, again, looking at a picture, and where is this from? Can someone tell me in our control room? It's across the... Once was the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. We want to go over the timeline quickly, and then we're going to bring in Jim Dolan to talk about a group that claimed responsibility, and a development, the late development on that. At 8:45, a commuter plane crashed into the North Tower of the Trade Center. Right, that was at 9:03, a 737 crashes into the South Tower. 9:35, a plane crashes into the Pentagon in Washington.
Those planes were the World Trade Center attacks, or with whether one of them was down at the Pentagon in Washington. But American Airlines confirming that 2 of the planes used in terrorist attacks today were hijacked from them. Bill?
Well, also should point out that in addition to that, we've had a third plane, or fourth plane perhaps, go down in western Pennsylvania. At this point in time, a 747. It has not, I must make clear, been connected to either the events here in New York or in Washington, but we do know that plane went down this morning, Somerset County in western Pennsylvania. We are still attempting to get some confirmation on how many people may have been on board. We are told that plane either came from New York or Cleveland. Again, not connected, but certainly on this morning of horrific and unbelievable events. It certainly appears to perhaps have been part of what is now a coordinated attack.
And you're seeing the scene at St. Vincent's Hospital in Greenwich Village. They're bringing wounded in. You can see them right now. The fire department and paramedics, EMT personnel bringing what looks like one wounded person. I can't say if it's a woman or a man. Looks like a man.
Yes, it is.
Coming in. He's got an oxygen mask on him. We are getting word the police are evacuating the 3 passenger terminals A, B, and C at Newark International Airport. The airport, of course, has been closed since these attacks this morning in the World Trade Center. All airports in the United States are closed for takeoffs. All planes in and around flying in the United States have been told and ordered to land at the nearest available airport. We assume that has been completed. Police, we're told, are evacuating now, evacuating the 3 passenger terminals at Newark. Jim.
Flight 77, a Boeing 757 from Dulles to Los Angeles, also hijacked 58 passengers on board, 4 flight attendants, and 2 pilots. What we don't know is which of those planes, where that plane crashed, whether it was the second plane that hit the World Trade Center or whether it was the plane that hit the Pentagon, the landing pad, the helicopter landing pad at the Pentagon.
What kind of plane was that, Jim?
A 757, a Boeing 757, 58 passengers on board, 4 flight attendants, 2
And we
pilots.
also have a 767 that went down in western Pennsylvania.
No,
So
Bill, that was a 747.
Okay, I'm
and,
sorry.
And we want to keep all
these.
these. And again, it's not clear whether that 747 was involved in all of this terrorist activity, but it is safe to point out that one of the people investigating that crash has said that that flight was either from New York or from Cleveland. They were not sure.
We have been reporting that the second plane to crash into the second tower was a 737, but you're saying now American Airlines is saying that was a 767.
Yes.
A huge jumbo jet, twin-engine jet, wide body that crashed into that second tower. We are told, and we were just going to show you this videotape, we are told that some of the reaction for some people in some sections of the Middle East was one of celebration and cheering when they heard the news. Do we know where this is from? I don't want to...
Where in the Middle East?
Well,
And Bill, again, all this information is coming to us, bits and pieces at a time, but I just want to point out that that 767 is the plane that hit the first tower. The first plane to hit the tower was the 767.
And how many people were on board that plane, Jim?
81 passengers, 9 flight attendants, and 2 pilots.
Okay. We are just getting word also that the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania was a 747 United Airlines flight. We do not know whether this was connected to these terrorist attacks, but it is obviously on our radar screen. A United Airlines 747 taking off from Newark International Airport this morning on its way to San Francisco is the plane that we have been reporting that crashed at Somerset County, just north of Somerset County Airport. Again, we don't know if that's connected. All planes around that time were told to land at the nearest immediate airport, a 747, the largest aircraft flying in the world. I don't know whether the Somerset County Airport, perhaps someone in our newsroom could tell me, was capable of handling a 747, but we just don't know how that was connected. But we do know the United Airlines confirming a flight from Newark to San Francisco, the Boeing 747 has crashed.
Also, as you continue here to look at some of the unbelievable pictures from around the city this morning, we also want to remind you that if you are having a problem moving into or out of Manhattan today, just stay calm. Don't be surprised. All bridges and tunnels have been shut down. In fact, at this point, the only tunnel that we know of that has any traffic going through it is the Midtown Tunnel. We are told that traffic has once again being allowed outbound through the Midtown Tunnel. Everything else has been shut down. Mass transit is shut down. Obviously, emergency law enforcement officials want to make sure to secure these areas before they allow traffic to move through them again.
I want to move back, Senator. My conscience is bothering me. The pictures we saw of people cheering in the Middle East, we do not, ladies and gentlemen, know what country that was from. There are, of course, some countries in the world that would cheer this event. Most would not, and most countries in the Middle East would not cheer the loss of innocent life. And I want to make that clear, and we do not, by not knowing the locator of that, and I apologize for that, want to disparage any peoples or country.
It's one of the...
Those are people who are across the Middle East. Most of the people you'll see in countries do not support the Most people do not believe this is the way to get their ends achieved, but there will always be some who will support anything that makes the United States look bad or causes pain to the United States.
You just saw doctors arriving at St. Vincent's down in Greenwich Village there.
Bill, the Associated Press is reporting now that an unnamed police official is saying that the death toll could be in the thousands from the World Trade Center. There is obviously no exact number. There won't be for some time, but they are speculating now that it could be in the thousands, that according to the Associated Press.
At its height, go ahead, Senator.
Yeah, what we can tell you is that the average daily population of workers in the World Trade Center, and keep in mind, this happened very early in the morning. It was likely that many of the workers weren't there yet or just arriving. 50,000 workers on an average day there, 70,000 visitors. Again, early in the morning. Another positive sign we might add is that we have spoken to, you've heard from several people, workers in the building that were as high as the 82nd floor that did manage to get out of the tower with just a few minor injuries. So again, we don't know how many people may have been killed, how many injured. We do know that there were people on very high floors that were able to get out of the building.
Yes, and that's good news, although Jim's citing the police official saying thousands, he fears thousands may have been killed. They could have been much worse, although it's tragic enough. I want to pass on some information we just got. The video that we showed you of those people cheering from the Middle East was from Jerusalem, a section of Jerusalem, I am assuming. It was those pictures, the Palestinian section of Jerusalem.
This is that videotape again.
This was this morning. We have...
Wide now, maybe we can see where that is, but...
This is tape picture. We have indeed achieved a status that does not speak very highly of any of us.
And Bill, maybe we should point out that there is much belief among Palestinian people in Jerusalem and in the West Bank and Gaza, of course, that they are in the position they are in because the United States supports Israel so strongly, and that is why they have such many people there have such distrust and animosity towards the United States.
And of course, Jim, it has been a year since the collapse of the Middle East peace talks that President Clinton tried to push through, and the year this month since the second Intifada and the violence killing scores and scores of Palestinians and Israelis in the Middle East. We want to say that we do have any word, control room in the newsroom, how many schools or if schools have been closed. We know schools in Lower Manhattan have been closed. Obviously, the election today has been called off and suspended. All the airports are shut. The Yankee game tonight
called off.
Has been called off.
Bill, in fact, the entire air traffic system in the United States is closed down right now. Every plane that is in the air is being ordered to land at the closest safe airport to land at. And a spokesperson for American Airlines, who of course has lost at least 2 of these planes today, and several of scores of their own employees and passengers, says, "We are horrified by these tragic events." That is the chairman and CEO of American Airlines. They will not be operating, American TWA, American Eagle will not be operating until further notice.
It has been 2 hours and 55 minutes since a commuter plane crashed into the first North Tower of the World Trade Center. 18 minutes later at 9:03 Eastern Time, a second plane, which American Airlines is saying flight number 11, a 767, en route from Boston to Los Angeles with 81 passengers on board, was hijacked and crashed into the second tower. At 9:35 this morning, you saw it right there. Second tower crashed into a 767. It was very hard to tell how big that plane was from our vantage point.
Yeah.
At 9:35, the Pentagon plane crashed there. It is still on fire. At 10 a.m., the first tower collapsed. At 10:15, the State Department in Washington reported a car bombing. At 10:30, the second tower collapsed. You're about to see the first tower collapse.
Unbelievable video.
It is an image that will be with us forever.
There are so many images from these last 2 hours that will stay with us forever. I tell you, I am struck by the picture from earlier of the F-16 patrolling the airspace around New York. That we would ever come to a day when that would be necessary, when we would have to bring in F-16s to make sure our airspace was clear and safe. That is
we're
an
about
amazing
to see the
picture.
second tower the North Tower collapse, I believe, in this next shot. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a flash right before it collapsed. There was a flash of flame right before it collapsed. Are we going to see this? Yeah. Watch this flash right before it collapses. You'll see it there. And there was a flash.
Yeah, there was definitely a flash there. I'm not sure that it didn't happen after the. Didn't come out after the
it started collapsing.
It started to collapse. There is so much weight there.
Once the infrastructure is breached,
yep,
the whole thing comes down. David Ushery has been following the closures and the up to the date developments in the city for us. He's in the newsroom. David.
Be partially involved.
911 operators and all of its uniformed officers to report to work immediately, and that includes all of the agencies of the NYPD. Once again, all 911 operators, all uniformed officers report to work immediately. The NYPD also wants people to understand, if you had some business to conduct today in Manhattan and you were planning on heading in, please do not. There will be no business conducted today, regardless of what it is, pretty much. Also, if you can leave Manhattan or if you can go home and done with your business, please do that. It will just make things a lot easier for emergency vehicles to get around. It will also make all locations in Manhattan a little less vulnerable. So again, all 911 operators, all uniformed officers, please report to duty. Back to you in the studio.
All right, David, that's good advice. We are awaiting a press conference from American Airlines in Boston as you watch smoke still pour. Now, you heard Sarah Wallace earlier say we in the Eyewitness Newsroom have gotten a couple calls reporting an explosion at the Embassy Suites hotels in Battery Park City. Jeff Rawson, at about 11:15 or 11:10, was reporting live and said he heard an explosion. We want to get an update on what might be happening down there because that's new smoke rising. Sarah Wallace, I'm sorry, control room, what are we going to? Okay, we want to go to some of the sound bites and sound from the witnesses. Nope, we're now going. Go ahead, Sarah.
There's a live news conference right now in Boston.
We've closed the airport to all arriving and all departing flights. We've increased our security measures. We've shut down all the construction sites within Logan Airport, both airside and landside. And we've shut down all security checkpoints and removed all passengers who had been previously screened out into the non-secure part of the airport. We've activated our Family Assistance Center at the Hilton Hotel based upon some reports that some of these flights may have originated from Boston. We're asking the media's assistance to notify any family members that may have had families flying on those flights that we've had various reports on to call these following numbers. American Airlines, 800-245-0999. Secondly, family members can call a Mathport number, 617-568-3100. We've also urging people not to come to the airport at this point in time. We've increased the shuttle buses from the terminals to the MBTA Blue Line stop, and the MBTA has increased the frequency of subway transportation. We are in close communication with the FAA, the FBI, State Police, Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
You have been listening to Joseph Lawless, I believe, with the Port Authority in Boston. He is, of course, referring to that Boeing 767, I believe it was, Flight 11 that came out of Boston this morning. That, I believe, is the plane that crashed into the first tower. Is that correct, Jim?
Second.
Or the second tower.
Second tower. Yep.
The one that, in fact, you have seen on videotape
South
this
Tower.
morning,
Yeah.
the South Tower. Again, just side on your screen. That was a flight out of Boston, Flight 11-767. He's simply giving direction. May have had loved ones, friends on that flight.
Unbelievably disturbing scenes. We want to go to some of the sound and interviews we've been doing with some of the witnesses that saw this destruction firsthand this morning.
I was in One World Trade Center.
And what was it like in there? Did they start evacuating?
Yeah, because as soon as it got hit, I was thrown to a window. So I was very lucky to get out. There's a lot of people that didn't get out. There's a lot of people coming down the stairs, burnt up. It's bad.
Were there other people that were hurt, were lying
There
there?
was a lot of people hurt. They were lying on the floors, coming down the stairs. A lot of people had asthma attacks while they were coming down. It was